Okay, fam. Peace and love. You know, just wanted to talk a little bit about some things. I've been kind of not doing anything for a good couple months because I went to another location after being harassed out of the place that I was at, obviously by white people. Um, and it's it's uh, it's really difficult to describe exactly the the level of betrayal that one might feel um, when you have to deal with this type of this issue of mind control, of stealing, of lying, of 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 this evilness that has plagued our lives. I'm not sure how many other people have been forced to participate in these programs, but I know that there's a lot, and it's really kind of sad and crazy that our U.S. government, which receives, I mean, that has just deceived everyone, um, and these fraternities, these cabals, these mafias, there really is no such thing as the rule of law. Um, so my betrayal, um, you know, a main part of that was my brother-in-law. We were high school friends. We were, I met, he sat right next to me in high school, and I knew him. He introduced me to his sister, which is my wife. I mean, we were on the same wrestling team. We hung out. We were good friends. And I was in a boarding school. So I didn't have a lot of friends. I had maybe one or two friends, max. He was one of them. And I would invite him over to the house to eat. His sister and I, got along. We were boyfriend and girlfriend, and that's taboo in high school because I was a senior and she was like a sophomore, and then we stayed together while I was in college, and we broke up a little bit, got back together, and got married, and we're together for 16 fucking years. Um, 3 years ago, and I'm not sure. I mean, exactly when this betrayal happened. I'm assuming that it was a long time coming. I'm assuming that this type of stuff dates back to almost birth, where you get tracked, you get put into a system, you get tracked, and they start setting you up for failure, so that one day one of their cyborgs, their androids, their clones, someone can take over your body and your birthright. And so, I mean, we're dealing with some very, very, very deep shit right now. I was kind of on the wall a little bit about who has been harassing me as of late. The harassment has increased again, and what they were doing, what personally they were doing, is that say I'd be meditating, somehow they had me hooked up to other people or a computer, so that what I saw when I meditated was almost it was computer like, almost. It was um, I mean, it was weird because I could switch between any scene that I wanted, but there was always someone fighting me. There was always someone trying to punch and kick, it stopped being just me enjoying reality, enjoying the things that I loved and enjoyed, and it started becoming this fight, nonstop fighting, and these beings, these negative entities, constantly jumping in and attacking. And it was even, you don't even have to do anything. I'm just sitting here trying to sleep, and then they start pinging you. And that means, for me, they were flashing these lights behind your eyes, and then talking to you, and then flashing you, and random images, nasty images, scary images, anything. It didn't matter. They were constantly trying to goad me into a reaction. And it was just extremely tedious and obnoxious, and of course disrespectful in every possible way. So, I'm obviously not understanding what the hell is going on. And yes, I would fight and learn and grow. The way that it was done is that, you would be forced to use your brain in order to grow, in order to defeat such things that would constantly show up into your brain. And it was very just obnoxious. And one of the things that I noticed is that once I would do something, they would take it, use it, adapt, get faster, and then so on and so forth. So it was like they were hooking up to a computers. And I just can't even imagine that our government is participating with these types of things, but they are. And I'm gonna have to figure out a way to expose this properly, because it's just not acceptable to be an alive person in this plane of existence and be subjected to basically terrorism. So what I've realized is that this has been going on for a long time, and I was set up. And these people, Adam's father is Israeli, Ashkenazi. So if you know all about that, you understand that they are the fake ones. They worship Baal and all these other negative entities, and they work with them as well, for technology and for esoteric knowledge. And basically, they're just another extension of evil white people, and cloning, and the rest of their mafia. And if you understand, if you understand how nature works, and what they've been doing, they're completely like synthetic beings. They're just not human. They're not. They're under mind control. They kill their own. Once they kill people, they clone them. They replace them, and then they have, these negative entities that inhabit their bodies, and then they continue the agenda of basically eliminating black men from the planet. And I don't know what they do with black women. I'm sure they try to replace them or take over their bodies. I don't understand why they haven't tried to replace me. I'm guessing because they're trying to learn secrets that have been held, by blacks in our genetic line for a long time, and trying to incorporate that into their own DNA. So I'm guessing that's a part of it. And basically using me as a sacrificial lamb. And that means by breaking every fucking law that they have on the books. I'm talking Nuremberg treaties, using the police to grab people up illegally, illegal tracking and surveillance, phone tapping, wiretapping, destroying your life, killing your family, putting you in mental institutions, giving you drugs, anything you can think of that would get them to have their agenda, I have been through. except for someone literally putting a gun to my head. Having agents come out and with their negative entities and jump into your body. And this is all while they're speaking to you, constantly speaking to you while inside your body. In fact, while I'm doing these videos, I can hear them saying things like whisper or, yeah, that's me. And they actually got to a point where they can touch me. And I'm not fucking around. They can touch you through the astral plane. They can touch you. They can fuck with you. I don't know what these entities are, but they are empowered somehow, and maybe through us, and they can touch you. This is what we're dealing with. We're not dealing with just some nerd in an office punching keyboards. We're dealing with actual entities that enter your body, can touch you, and destroy your life completely. And some of the scenarios that I've had where I could go to a store and pick up some food, and then all of a sudden, when you do something they don't like, or when the time has come for them to try to arrest you, and right now someone just touched me on my leg and said me, by the way, and then me again. One of the things, you can go to the store and they can harass you, and you can go to the store a bunch of times and everything's okay. So they got agents in the store, people following you, making sure that you're okay. And then all of a sudden, once their agenda is done, or once you've done something they don't like, then they send the security after you, or the police. So this has happened to me on multiple occasions. So it kind of shows that they've got a lot of people under their foot. They've got a lot of people. And so if you hear weird stories about cars, of people being blown up, and people disappearing, and police just randomly shooting black people in the streets, and all this other wars and crime and stuff like that that's going on in our world. And you have to understand that there's an agenda behind all this, a direct agenda. One of the reasons how I found out, it was last night, they were harassing me nonstop, and they hit you with these these waves that keep you up so that you can't fall asleep. So one of the things that happened is that I was trying to ignore them, and then I brought up a picture of the Pope, and they stopped attacking the Pope. Then I brought up a couple other pictures of like presidents, Hillary Clinton, and in my mind I can actually make the actual figure, the actual person in my mind, and have them move, dance, whatever the hell I want to do. I'm not sure how that's connected to a computer or what, but they stop fighting. They completely stop. They just don't do it. They don't attack them. They pause. So, you have to understand that every single thing that I did in my mind, they would try to attack or change or just annoy me with. Like, no matter what the thought was, they'd spin it about. They'd change it, whatever it took. And then all of a sudden, I did this picture of the Pope, and they would stop. They would not continue. So you see that there is an agenda here. You can see who's a part of the agenda, and what these negative entities are really trying to do, who they might be working with or working for. And we've got a lot of work to do. We really do. And we have to keep a strong persona, and stay lifted up, because this is bad. This is very, very bad. Peace and love, fam. Oh yeah, my brother-in-law is Adam McNeil, and known him for a long time. Betrayal.